and I look forward to working with everyone. To start, we'll do quick introductions and a little icebreaker. The icebreaker question will be, what's your favorite winter activity now that we're getting more snow on the ground, at least in Anchorage? And we can just popcorn it around. So once you've gone, you can pick someone else to go next. So I'm Sarah. I am the Alaska Fellow at ACT. My pronouns are she, her, and my new favorite winter activity is cross-country skiing, which I just did for the first time this past weekend. And all popcorn to DJ.
Hello, happy to be here. I am DJ Tyson, the Digital Engagement Manager for VOA Alaska. So I do all of our digital comms and marketing. My favorite winter activity is cross-country skiing. Also, just went for the first time this winter up at Independence Mine. And it was just a beautiful day with lots of people out, and it was really exciting. I always forget how much I love it. I will pick Kayla.
Hi everyone, I'm Keela Pfister. I work at ACT. I'm the Director of Communications, so sounds like almost same job as you, DJ. My favorite winter activity is backcountry skiing. I love getting out in the mountains, even if it's winter. So yeah, and I will popcorn it to Olivia.
Oh, sweet. You must know that I love backcountry skiing. So I'm Olivia Foster. I work for Providence Valdez Medical Center. I'm a registered nurse, and I coordinate our 0 to 3 with Families Alliance. And I will popcorn to, I hope Mara hasn't gone.
Okay, sorry about that. I am Mara Jones. I am a clinician intern at Alaska Behavioral Health. I am new to Alaska, and from where I'm from, liked going tubing in the snow, and I'm looking forward to trying cross-country skiing for the first time ever. So I will pass it off to, let's see, Lee.
Hi, my name is Lee Bolin. I'm the Executive Director at the Resource Center for Parents and Children in Fairbanks. My pronouns are she, her, and I feel basic also saying cross-country skiing. I also snowshoe. Sledding's fun. Just getting outside is good in the wintertime, but also staying inside is good too. And curling up and being warm. I gotta pick the next person. I'm gonna pick who's next on my list that hasn't gone. Beth.
Good afternoon. I'm Beth Klein. I'm the Parent, Family, and Community Engagement Manager for Rural CAP. Hi, Tara. I am unlike all of you because I actually hate cross-country skiing. Even though I got skis last year, I despise it and keep them in my car with the doors unlocked, hoping someone steals them, but they have not yet. I really like to host parties. I like to host bonfires. I had built an outdoor movie theater, so we get some raging bonfires going and watch some movies. We just watched Zombieland. So yeah, that's what I like to do. I will pass it off to Colleen.
My name is Colleen Andrews. I'm the Social Connections Coordinator for Rock Mat-Su, which stands for Raising Our Children with Kindness. We work primarily in the Mat-Su Valley. We're a cross-sector of community members that work together to promote family resilience and reduce child maltreatment. Yeah, so winter activity. Being born and raised in the village, I love snow machining and ice fishing. So I love winter altogether. So who hasn't gone? Maybe can we get a raise of hands? Tara.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tara Stiller. I am Program Director at ACT. Winter activities, I like to stay warm inside. I can't say that I don't like cross-country skiing because I haven't tried it yet. But most of the time, I like to do a lot of crafts during the winter and invite people over to do crafts and just stay warm. A lot of banya in the winter to stay warm, and it's a good stress reliever too. Anybody not gone? Oh, Alana.
Hi, my name is Alana Menthel, and I'm a social services program coordinator with the Office of Children's Services, and I foresee grants and contracts that fund community programs such as the statewide April Prevention Month contract. And I think, oh, my favorite winter activity, I like to snowboard. And I know Ricky hasn't gone yet.
Thank you, Alana. Good to see you. I am Ricky Dubois. I'm the Prevention Education Specialist at the Safe Child Advocacy Center, and I'm not a winter fan at all. I hate the cold, can't stand to be cold. So my time of year is I'm cozied up in blankets, got candles going, got cats in my lap. You know, I'm all indoors for the winter time. So I guess I do love my cozy time. So I'll say that. And passing off to, well, this gets hard. Dominique, have you gone?
No, not yet. My name is Dominique. I am the program manager in Kotzebue for the Maniluk Association. And winter is pretty rough up here, so I do like to stay indoors. And when I do, I think my favorite wintertime activity would be playing string games. I'm sorry, I'm gonna pass it off. I don't know who hasn't gone yet. Eliza?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Eliza. I'm a program specialist with the Alaska Children's Trust. I recognize some of your names and faces from last year's Prevention Month, which is exciting. I also love cross-country skiing in the winter and ice skating as well. And I'll pass to Mindy. I think, Mindy, you will be our last person who hasn't gone yet.
Thanks, Eliza. I'm Mindy Shoemake. I work for the Division of Juvenile Justice in Juneau. I like snowboarding and snow machining, but truly my most favorite thing is leaving Alaska to go someplace warm during the winter time. So, which I don't always get to do, but that would be my goal. And I do think maybe Kyla Pfister, I don't know if you've introduced yourself.
Yeah, I went backcountry skiing. I got you.
Maybe that is everyone then, or I don't know.
If anyone hasn't gone, could you just raise your hand? It looks like we got everyone. Great. Okay. So we reached out to most of you because you've already been involved with ACT and with Prevention Month in the past. But we're going to go through hopefully pretty quickly what ACT has done and what our partners have done in the past, just so you have an idea of all the things, because some of you may have been involved in different areas. And since we'll be talking about the resources and the materials that we've provided, we want you to have a good sense of everything that we've done before. So here is a list of the things that we did last year and things that we've done in the past. We traditionally provide physical materials like pinwheels. We did a child sexual abuse prevention physical pamphlet last year, and things like coloring books and stickers, but we also provide a lot of social media things for our partners and things like written pieces for media publicity, as well as online trainings and webinars, and things like radio ads, and also outreach to our communities and to the legislature. So I'm going to pass it over to Kayla to talk a little bit more about the things that ACT has done.
So how many of you have participated in a Child Abuse Prevention Month activity before? If you could physically raise your hand or raise your little hand on there. Okay, great. That gives me a good idea of how much detail to go into. So as you know, probably the first day, well, not the first day, the first Friday of April is kind of the kickoff of Child Abuse Prevention Month. It's called Go Blue Day. It's where everyone wears blue to raise awareness of the month and what's about to happen. So last year we had people across the state celebrate from rallies in Fairbanks to tabling in different communities to a live event at the Anchorage Museum to Kid Corp doing a bunch of different things with the kids in their program to dinosaurs playing at the playground. So people found different ways to kind of highlight Go Blue Day last year. You can go to the next slide, Claire. Some of the things that ACT provided were just social posts, so different things just to raise awareness of how to go blue, different ideas. We created a Zoom background. We, in the past, have done Facebook profile frames. We're limited on that now because they're kind of limiting how many of those you can make. And we also, go to the next slide, provided a Go Blue Day Kids activity book, which was a little book with a bunch of different activities. Just ways to go blue. Some of them had like STEM integration, like our rain cloud in a jar science experiment. And these were only digital, but there's always a possibility that this year, this could be one of the materials that we print instead. If you find that you're really interested in it, this could also be a great activity for the committee to help with deciding like, how can we make this more, instead of just fun, how can we make this more like mission centric to Child Abuse Prevention Month? Because it really was just focused on how to have fun with your kids, create those stronger bonds and raise awareness of Go Blue Day at the same time. So that could totally be a task that we tackle together or a subgroup of the committee tackle together. So that's kind of what we've done in the past related to Go Blue Day specifically, which is really just like an awareness campaign, right? But one of the main things that we want to do this year and into the future is really elevate Child Abuse Prevention Month to be more than solely awareness related, to give people tangible things that they can do, skills they can come away with. And we'll talk about some of the webinars we've done in the past coming up, but really trying to get it to be more than just awareness. So last year we had this theme that went with the nationwide Prevent Child Abuse America. So Alaska Children's Trust is the chapter of Prevent Child Abuse America. And we used their theme and a lot of their tools last year, which was growing a better tomorrow for children together. We do not know this year's nationwide theme yet. And last year was the first year that we had actually ever taken advantage of it. And they give tons of social tools and press releases and op-eds and things like that, which is really great. And we would pass those along to all of you, of course. So they have their communications group meeting. They just had one this morning, so I'm hoping they decided upon a theme pretty quickly. But sometimes we don't get these items until like February. So we'll have to see if that timeline works for us in Alaska. And if it doesn't, we can, look into hiring a graphic designer to make some of these pieces for us. And we can also just decide that the theme doesn't go along with our state, because when I looked at some of the materials last year, you'll see a lot of like cityscapes in the background. Even in this one, you can't see a lot of it, but we can always think of something that's more Alaska centric also. You can go to the next slide, Sarah. And what was great about the toolkit is it came with a lot of themed messaging. So how to translate this garden theme to practicality. So these were some of the key messages that they gave us last year. Children are locally grown. We harvest what we sow. Our work is rooted in science. Adversity is not destiny. I love that one because it kind of goes back to the work of adverse childhood experiences don't determine how the rest of your life is going to play out. And comparing that to, plants growing in difficult soil, it's perfect for Alaska, plants growing in the tundra and the difficult climate. So those were some of the themes from last year. And those translated to some pretty nice graphics that we were able to use, some of which we modified to fit more Alaska centric. So hopefully this is what we'll get this year as well. That's what we're looking forward to on the horizon. But again, if it doesn't fit with us and if it doesn't fit with our decision as a committee, we can go a different direction for what we decide to do with it. In the past, we've also used dare to be the one as our messaging. So dare to be the one person in a child's life that, you know, dare to be that one adult, that one supportive adult that can really make a difference for kids. So that's a little bit on the comms perspective. We don't have a whole lot of information yet. And I'm really hoping that we are able to translate the nationwide theme into our work, but it doesn't have to be that way either. So we'll let you know when we know more.
Yeah, and then I would just like to show some of the photos of the physical materials we had last year. This is the CSA, Preventing CSA Toolkit that Eliza had put together. We also had a coloring book that looked at the Strengthening Families model, and then growth charts, stickers, and of course, pinwheels. And I'm going to pass it over to Eliza to talk about ACT's mini grants.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. So we also provided mini grants. That's something we've done in the past. Many of you, I think, received mini grants. And they were just $250 to put towards an event that helps raise awareness about preventing child abuse and neglect. And organizations did a ton of different things with those mini grants last year. So we had positive picketing rallies to raise awareness. We had activities that after school programs and childcare programs did with the kids to raise awareness. We had radio ads in Wrangell that were produced with a mini grant. So all across the board, communities get really creative and they can put those funds towards basically whatever they want. So lots of groups use them to provide food and drinks so that they could have a community activity that brings parents and kids together, and maybe distribute some of those ACT provided materials at that event too. So big range of things, and we really get applications for those mini grants from all across the state and from a variety of different organizations and types of programs. And then one thing that we didn't do last year, but that we want to mention for this year is that ACT has just received some initial funding for a storytelling project related to telling stories of lived experience with child abuse and neglect. And we hope to be able to launch that project in April with a few videos that we're going to produce highlighting the lived experience of Alaskans who have interacted with or have faced child abuse and neglect in some form, whether that's personal experience or the experience of their child. We don't really know what that'll look like yet, but we're taking some initial steps, which is starting with putting together a lived experience advisory board that will inform that work. And then we hope to use those videos during Prevention Month to launch a larger storytelling campaign focused on helping people share their stories about child abuse and neglect if they feel that that would be healing to them. So we just wanted to highlight that for you all so that you know that that's something that ACT is working towards having ready to launch for next year's Prevention Month.
Thanks, Liza. So yeah, I'd just like to give a brief explanation of the committee because we did not have like a planning committee for Prevention Month last year. But yeah, your role as members of the committee is to really generate feedback for ACT. We'd love to hear how you've used our materials in the past, what you'd like to see this year, what works, what doesn't. Really to brainstorm ideas for Prevention Month, to understand how we can better reach certain communities and certain populations, and really to bring in the perspective of the partners that we have like across the state, and help ACT expand our efforts throughout the state. Because obviously we work and live in Anchorage, but we want Prevention Month to be much wider than that. And because this is a new thing this year, we really welcome any input and feedback that you have about the committee as well. So right now I'd love to have a discussion about these things. To start out, looking at these questions, specifically focusing on what you and your organization have done for Prevention Month in the past, and your ideas for going forward. And you can raise your hand and also type in the chat, but looks like Beth.
Yep, I was just gonna say, so I feel like whenever I see the information for this initiative, it's always like I'm getting it last minute. And so I'm pushing it out to our sites. We have 22 Head Start sites throughout Alaska. And we give them the opportunity to be involved if they want to be involved. So I think knowing kind of now putting a date to, okay, this is when it's going to be, so I can give them more information and some ideas. We do family events every month, so I think this would be a great opportunity. But in the past with those mini grants, they've done posters, they've done, one of our sites, I think years ago, did like a little mini parade in front of the Head Start. So hopefully I can make it a bigger project in their mind. Just one thing, and I might be going rogue here, blah, 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 is, you know, child abuse is very taboo to talk about, especially in rural Alaska. And so I think one of the things that would really be helpful is some sort of documentation or handout that's like recognizing the signs of child abuse, and what does that look like for a kiddo, and how are they, you know, did they go from being super happy to super sad, like what's going on? We have a lot of training with that with our staff, but I think always keeping it in their mind would be very helpful. And again, I think just giving, for us particularly, our sites a little bit more notice to get the, you know, something fun going, but that's just for us.
Yeah, thank you. That's super helpful information. And I hope that with this planning committee, you're able to get more information sooner so that you can get that information out.
Yep, and we do
That's
a
not last
monthly
minute.
newsletter. So I'm
Mhm.
constant, when I get your emails, I'm constantly putting your information in our newsletters. So they're very well aware of the program. I think it's just getting them more involved.
Okay, great. Elisa, why don't you go ahead and then DJ?
Hi, I'm Elisa Roger. I'm a pediatrician. I'm currently in Ketchikan, but transitioning to live in Whale Pass, which is a town of 100 in northern Prince of Wales. And I've been a pediatrician here for 13 years. And one thing that in my clinical practice has been helpful with just in discussing child abuse, like a lot of people, a lot of families just historically, and it's not necessarily child abuse, but spanking or physical punishment is kind of standard. And I found that through non-judgmental, like partnership in terms of education and communication with what does the AP say about, what's the research about not using physical punishment and why that has been shown to work better than corporal punishment, like meeting families where they are in a non-judgmental way, and just really explaining the research, because a lot of people just haven't been exposed to that research at all, is how I found these discussions to be the most meaningful and impactful. I'm not sure how to parlay that into like a broader outreach project, but I do think making those resources from the American Academy of Pediatrics available somehow would be a good step. Thank you.
Is it my turn? I guess so. No one's stopping me, so I'll keep talking. So this year, we combined our kinship family team and our school-based services team, and we planned, once we saw that there was an ACT grant, we planned some ideas, and we came up with two things. One was our kinship family group put on an educational workshop for the kinship parents or kinship caregivers, and then the kids got to jump around for 2 hours at the trampoline park while the adults got to learn about preventing child abuse and the protective factors. And that was supported by a grant from ACT. And then we also had a blog series that covered each of the 5 protective factors, and our school-based clinicians and kinship team staff split that out. So they drafted them, and then I copy edited them, and we posted them as a blog series. And then our school-based team sent it out to all their contacts, the teachers and parents from their schools, and they got a lot of great feedback on that. So for this next year, if there's need for more written content, I think our staff, I can volunteer them as some subject matter experts to help adapt some of the national materials, make it more localized for Alaskans. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, and we've really expanded our family focus as well. Our kinship family team is now our family services team, and our family services clinician actually just started today. So I think we'll have even more capacity and more interest to talk more about sort of the broader family issues for this next Child Abuse Prevention Month. So I'm really excited about that, and can't wait to bring some of these ideas in the committee to our team and get their expert opinions and thoughts on it. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, DJ. All that sounds really, really good. Olivia?
Hey, so here in Valdez, Providence Valdez Medical Center, I'm a registered nurse, by the way, and I also sit on the Thread Board of Directors. I think I forgot to say that earlier. And I also am on City Council, and I teach nursing program at the local college here. So we partner with a lot of people because my specialty is infection prevention and population health. We do a yearly rally where we all get together outside of the hospital and we talk about child abuse. We've got food laid out in a very infection prevention manner. We all do impeccable hand hygiene. And then we do a walk through our town down Main Street, and we usually make big poster boards, and we have the high schools create the poster boards for us. And yeah, I really appreciate the mention of the trampoline event that you have with parents and children, and teaching parents how to prevent child abuse in their own homes. And being a registered nurse, I would love this if this could be part of the education that we give to brand new parents who are, you know, taking prenatal classes, perinatal classes, postnatal classes to help folks try and address this and know the signs and different mechanisms that they can utilize to maybe prevent themselves from being abusive towards their children. The other thing that I'm heavily involved with is the 0 to 3 with Families Alliance. And right now we are having a really huge problem, like the rest of the nation, with finding licensed childcare in our community. And I think it's really important for us to be able to create a narrative and really connect the dots with why this having licensed childcare is important, because it does lead to the road where you have to put your kids in unlicensed care. And I think that increases the risk that kids could be abused and neglected or sexually abused. So I would love to partner with ACT to figure out these few things that I just mentioned, but specifically around Go Blue Day, I would love to see what I just mentioned. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Olivia. And I think I love your description of the event, marching through like the whole town and getting like high schoolers and other kids involved. It sounds like a really great way to involve the whole community. Ricky.
Okay. Thank you. So let's see, last year was my first year with the Safe Child Advocacy Center, and I started a few months before Prevention Month, but had enough time to get involved. I was able to meet with Eliza and Tara last year and ended up facilitating a webinar with ACT last year on preventing child sexual abuse. I've taken that webinar that I developed for that event and adapted it to be delivered as an individual curriculum. So part of my role is working with families directly to address risk factors, increase protective factors, and hopefully prevent future abuse from happening for those families that come through the Child Advocacy Center. So adapting that webinar into an individual format has really allowed me to explore different specific experiences that the families are having and relating it to the information. So it involves a more rich discussion and a more personalized discussion for those family members. And it's been really successful so far. Last year we did there's a lot of information been put out about ACEs and a lot of talk about ACEs. And I'm really focusing more, trying to gear more towards the positive childhood experiences. So last year we received a mini grant from ACT and facilitated a movie event, a free movie event. We showed a movie for families. We provided free snacks and drinks for kiddos and provided prevention education material to parents. So handed out goodie bags with the child sexual abuse prevention booklets. Love those booklets. We just ran out of ours yesterday. We did a family event and we handed out, when kids were trick-or-treating, we handed out goodie bags to parents of prevention information. So just ran out of those booklets. Really like the new fall family festival activity booklet. We want to use that some more. And just really trying to, also with positive childhood experiences, we did the movie event and we've since expanded that. We're calling it a family day series here in Juneau. So we did family day at the movies. We did family day at the park in the summertime, and that was involving our other community partners. So we invited community partners to come to the event, have a booth that presented information about their specific program in the community. And then also to host an activity or a fun kind of, so it was a bit of a carnival. We had some outdoor games going on, really well attended. And we're just expanding more family day activities. So we have family day at the pool coming up. We want to do family day at the farm and just trying to do some quarterly events that really focus on those positive childhood experiences, positive interaction between parents and children to help prevent abuse. So that's what we've been working on here.
Thanks, Ricky. I love that. I think one of the questions that ACT has in general in thinking about our Prevention Month efforts is about the role of positive childhood experiences during Prevention Month and how we can include a lot about positive childhood experiences in the efforts and in the materials and events that we put on. One of the other questions we have is about making Prevention Month more action-oriented and what all of you think about that. I'm going to switch to the next slide briefly, but looking at some of the stuff that other chapters and other states that are Prevent Child Abuse America chapters have done, some of those things include more action-oriented items like a digital advocacy day or a rally at the state capitol. So if anyone has any thoughts about more action-oriented things, it doesn't have to be those, and it doesn't necessarily have to be legislative related. But beyond just raising awareness, if there's anything you all think that ACT could do to make our efforts more action-oriented.
I really like the calendar idea, the family calendar. I've seen those for other things, and I definitely pass those out to families when I'm doing work with them. It doesn't have to just be Prevention Month, but any of those that give just good ideas, positive ideas of things to do.
I really liked your coloring book, and the fact that it was Alaska centric was really awesome. So I would say any kind of little doodle type artsy or, comes with directions and good luck. Maybe it'll come out like this, but maybe it won't type deals. I don't know.
I'm just gonna hop in here. So a couple of things, a few things that Rock Matsu has done around Go Blue Day and Child Abuse Prevention Month. We hosted our community baby shower in the month of April to kind of support that work. We increased the number of ACEs and child sexual abuse prevention trainings throughout the month. We've done ACT's social media campaigns. We've hosted book clubs. And we did the Go Blue rally. And I think one year we partnered with a couple of different coffee shops in our area, and we handed out blue cookies for folks. That was, I think they were wearing blue or something like that, but yeah.
I guess I haven't been super involved. Like mostly it's just been, you know, grabbing booklets and handing out stickers and things like that. I guess one thing I'd be curious about if there's opportunity to be more active with teens and you know, because they are victims as well. And it seems like a lot of this sometimes is geared towards younger children. And maybe I'm wrong because honestly, I really haven't been super involved in the past. But maybe offering parenting classes, since some of our teens are parents as well, and helping them move forward in positive parenting might be an option.
No, that's a really good point, Mindy. Thanks for bringing that up.
We did an event years ago. I worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I ran the program in Seward, and we had local police officers come into our program for a family night. Sorry, my alarm just went off. Not to wake up, just as a reminder. And they read books about, you know, like My Body, No Touch, things like that to the kids, and then talked about, you know, who they should talk to. And that was, I mean, we had a huge turnout for that. And so I think now that I'm kind of getting back into this, I'm thinking as far as like where we're located, which is a lot in rural Alaska, like having a VPSO come in and talk to parents and kids, and our kids are little, but still just setting it in their mind. I think that would be, you know, a person of, in their mind, power of saying like, hey, I'm telling you, this is okay to tattle, you know, or whatever, but that might be an idea, getting the community involved.
Yeah, thanks, Beth.
I have a question for you all. What would you say, like, so typically ACT doesn't do direct service like many of you do. How can we help you and other organizations like yours that maybe aren't as involved? Like what tools can we give you aside from mini grants to make these kind of events happen? And I know you mentioned coloring books and things like that. And then also where does your preference lie? Is it because sometimes we do have to make like budgetary decisions pretty early on about how many like materials we're going to get printed out, like the growth charts, for example. We're going to have to make a decision pretty soon on if we want to print more of those. Kind of like, what's the balance for you? Like mini grants are like way more important. The materials help you make the events happen. What would you say?
I raised my hand, but I didn't know if anybody else was going. So for us, again, I'm just talking my program, we're mostly rural, so internet connection is very poor. And so anything we can hand out is perfect, but we also have the ability to print things too. So even if you were to say like, here's a coloring sheet, we could print those and send those out, but really it's anything tangible that we can give them. I like the $250 grant. I would like to see more of our communities use that, which will be a goal of mine this year, but because that gives them the opportunity to be creative in their own way. But again, I think anything tangible we can hand them is very helpful.
Okay, I'll just go next. So I was thinking, you guys usually give out movies to us to play. But we have a large civic center here in Valdez, and I don't know if I can play the movie at like a movie theater. But it might be nice just to be able for me to send out an email that allows people to stream a movie that like comes off of YouTube or something along those lines. And then it would be nice to just get passed forward, and you probably have done this in the past for other folks, but just like Facebook type materials. Here in Valdez, we eat, sleep, and breathe Facebook. I don't necessarily, but everyone else in the community really engages with Facebook. So if there's any type of marketing materials that you can forward to me so that I can get awareness out there and get people connected to different resources that we have available across the state, that would be great too.
And I'll second or third, however many people also mention it for the mini grant money. I'm trying to think of what we might do in April as VOA, and I know we have our big spring fundraiser around that time. So it might be another kind of family or parent oriented workshop. But I was thinking, in addition to the grants, if ACT was able to use their influence and name recognition and connections, and maybe find a couple, one person or multiple people that could do trainings, or just come meet with parent groups, and that they could connect all the organizations with. I don't know exactly how that would work, but I think that would be really cool and probably take a lot of pressure off of our staff and finding the right people to come to talk to the parents and the youth, especially if it was someone kind of focused on the talking to teens part of it as well.
Would you see that as an online opportunity, or would it need to be in person, you think? Because we've tried a lot of parent webinars in the past, and we've really had really low attendance, we found, except for a few, like Ricky had good attendance. But we've typically struggled with that, with the online webinar and trying to make it statewide. What do you think?
I was thinking more of like, hey, we have this person available. We've identified them as like a great person. We vetted them or something like that, or maybe some kind of agreement where maybe instead of maybe the grant money is going to them to pay for their time, and then so like VOA could then set up a time that they could come and talk with our clients and our families, and maybe other organizations could do that as well. That'd be an interesting idea.
So I have a question for all of you. Thinking about prevention of child abuse and neglect, there's so many different factors that play into child abuse and neglect. I think it would be interesting to learn perspectives from communities about what they see as child abuse and neglect, because it may be different in different cultures and communities, but I would really love to learn a lot more from our communities to best support them in identifying action steps we could take to prevention, instead of, these things are fun, yeah, but they do create awareness, but like, what can we actually do that can support this effort to prevent child abuse and neglect? I think learning from communities is the first step. So it's just an idea.
Tara, I appreciate, I guess, that you brought that up, because my experience is we really tend to focus a lot on the prevention of child sexual abuse, which we always should focus on, but some of the other forms of abuse and neglect kind of get overshadowed or not discussed as much. And so I think it might be helpful to have more of a discussion about that and what that looks like in different, what maltreatment looks like in different forms, I think, so that we're not just kind of focusing on one particular area because they are all tied together.
I wonder if like creating a sort of incentives program, you know, for participation in either education or awareness around child abuse for parents, you know, like say you attend something, you get like a gift, you know, a gift certificate for something somewhere. Because I think that sometimes it helps people to be interested in something if, you know, if there's you know, you get something from like something tangible, I guess, and, you know, from it. And so I don't know if there would be like, for example, there's a faith-based organization here, the Pregnancy Resource Center, and parents can go in and take parenting classes and earn bucks to spend at the store for, you know, items that they might need, like diapers or wipes or clothing or things like that, to help incentivize them to take parenting classes. I don't know, maybe something like that.
Yeah, Mindy, that's something we're thinking about right now. We're doing some online safety related trainings and offering gift cards to parents. Yeah.
I guess I'd love to hear a little from all of you who received materials last year, what you find most useful in terms of materials, whether it's the coloring books, the growth charts, stickers, pinwheels, and then also when it comes to more educational materials like that child sexual abuse prevention toolkit. How do you use that type of resource, and do you find it useful in your communities?
Okay, I guess I'll go again. I would say that we definitely utilize the booklets a lot. The Strong Families Coloring Book, the Child Sexual Abuse Prevention Booklet. We make goodie bags to hand out to parents. Yesterday I got a little nervous because it got busy at the trick or treat event. They were handing them to the kids, and I thought, well, you know, kids need the information, yes, but at the same time, some parents like to really filter and choose what they hand out to their kids. And we had like the unsafe versus safe touching, and it's okay to tell books. And I thought, I hope we don't, you know, upset parents this way by handing it off to the kids, but, you know, hopefully they check the bags before. Anyways, we hand them out at those things. Every event that we have or facilitate, the family day events, we put together those goodie bags. So we're just trying to really get the information out there to people. Use those a lot. I find, and the stickers as well. The kids really like the stickers. I find that I don't use the pinwheels as much, but I think that that's just because I've only been at this prevention month thing for a little while, and we got more creative with what we could use those for. And then just going back to one of the other suggestions, I've been thinking a lot about kind of the use of community cafes and wanting to expand that. So Tara, kind of what you're talking about, involving the communities, you know, hosting some of those community cafes to discuss, you know, what's happening in this particular community in Valdez versus Juneau, other areas, and maybe try to, you know, inspire other adults to become more active and involved in the prevention effort. So that's something I've been kicking around a bit and thinking about trying to plan and what that would look like here in Juneau.
Yeah, and then more parents would show up if you had like a gift card if you participate at the end. So yeah.
I'll jump in here. So something that I have noticed over the past few years is that resources in our community are really limited. So Rock Mat-Su in the Mat-Su Valley kind of does the bulk of, like, we don't host any parenting classes, but we do ACEs presentations. We have recently created another curriculum. It's kind of like step 2 to ACEs, called Raising Resilience. And then we also do the child sexual abuse prevention. We do like all of them. But in our community, I'm finding that when it comes to like parenting classes, resources are really limited. So I think maybe just having like a resource guide would be super helpful. And I know that being the person in Rock Mat-Su that does the community outreach, I get a lot of those questions of like, what can I attend online as far as like parenting classes go. And I find myself kind of hitting a brick wall and just promoting what we do here in Rock over and over again. Yeah, so.
Yeah, thank you, Colleen. That's really good information and good to know and something to think about.
And what Eliza spoke about earlier, the steering committee, the advisory group on lived experience with child abuse and neglect. Could any of you see your program participating in that, or referring some folks that might be interested in sharing their stories, or sharing their not necessarily their story? That's definitely not required. Really, we just want to make sure that we have the voices of those with lived experience as we start to begin this storytelling kind of movement. Could you see yourself participating in that kind of thing? And could you see yourself gathering stories also in the future? Or what do you think your role in that could be?
Yeah, I think some of our program staff would definitely be interested. And then for gathering stories, I would definitely be interested in helping with that, in any of our clients and families that work with us that would be interested. So I'd love to help out with that.
I could approach our counseling center and see if that would be anything that our counselors could approach any of their clients about, and see if we can get some stories there.
Great. I think we're still like in the figuring out best practices for how to even begin a lived experience advisory group, but I'm just taking advantage of this opportunity to kind of touch base and see if that might be a good fit for Prevention Month eventually as well. Okay.
So Rock Mat-Su just recently hired a program manager, and her focus is promoting lived experience and kind of infusing it into all of Rock Mat-Su's work. And I think it's really interesting to think about Child Abuse Prevention Month and having those voices at the table. I think it could be very powerful and relatable for some.
I see Mara just shared in the chat. Thank you. Is there anyone else who has comments, questions, thoughts?
This is Dominique up in Kotzebue. So last year we had received some material from ACT, and we were able to give those out to some of our communities, but it wasn't enough. So in Kotzebue, we're the main hub, but we service 12 other villages. And so it wasn't enough material to give out to all the kids in each of those communities. And also currently, I have a staff of like 2 people. So it's a huge undertaking to try and provide awareness to all these other communities when it's myself and one other person. So I don't know if there's other ideas that you guys could give which community partners I should be teaming up with to help promote more awareness, especially in those schools.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Dominique. And something ACT will think a lot about. And hopefully we can talk about more in our committee meetings. Yeah.
I guess I just want to say I do really, I know you're exploring it, but I really like the idea of the lived experience advisory board and the storytelling. That was something that we ran into with the webinar last year. We really made it clear that the discussion part was not meant to kind of bring up personal stories or things like that. It was more delivering information about how to prevent child sexual abuse, how to be involved in that. And at the end of that, one of the comments was an individual who really wanted to share her child's experience and be really open with that. And we decided not to do that for purposes of confidentiality. And it wasn't the victim, it wasn't the child choosing or wanting to tell their story, it was the parent. And the comment from her response to that was, well, I guess there's just nowhere for us. There's still nowhere for us to talk about this or talk about these things. And so it just seems like that might give someone a voice, because there are appropriate avenues and not appropriate avenues. And we didn't feel when we set up the webinar that was the appropriate avenue to talk about personal experiences. But I think that there are individuals who are, maybe a little further in their journey and have information that really could help others or connect with others. So I do think it's an important thing. And I think that there are individuals out there who want that opportunity to take back their voice and have some power back by being able to do so.
Thanks, Ricky. Well, it's 2 now, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So I think we can end here for today. On the agenda that Eliza sent in the chat, there are 3 potential meeting dates for the next meeting. Because this was scheduled a bit more last minute than I would have hoped, I'm going to send out another doodle poll to make sure we can have more of the committee at the second meeting. But just to put on your radar that those are the 3 dates that we're thinking of. And yes, thank you so much for sharing everything you shared today. We'll send out the notes and the agenda afterwards. And if you think of anything else that you didn't have time to share or that didn't come up in your mind while we were talking here, please feel free to email me, and we can add that to the meeting notes, and add that to our discussions for the next meeting. Yeah, so please let me know if you have any questions, but other than that, you're certainly free to go. And thank you again very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be starting to think about this now and not the month before.
Yay, us too.
Less pressure again.
Good.
Bye.